Hello all, welcome to this class on isometric projections. So let's do the problem number 6. A frustum of a square pyramid, base side 40 mm, top sides 20 mm and height 40 mm is placed centrally on a frustum of a cone, base diameter 80, top diameter 60 and height 20. So you draw the isometric projections of the combo. So here a square pyramid, a frustum of a square pyramid. So that is placed centrally on a frustum of a cone base diameter. So here both two frustums you have. So I mean here that means base and top has to be separately drawn. So here you can just see, let's try to first draw the cone. So cone base diameter they have given 80, top diameter they have given 60 and height is given for both. That is the height from the midpoint of both. That is given 20 for a cone and 40 for a square pyramid. So here that you'll have to create that base frame. So base frame angle combo will be same 30 150 minus 150 and minus 30. And when it comes to base diameter 80, the length will be 80 for all four combinations. When it comes to top diameter 60, it will be 60 for all four combinations. And similarly base diameter 40 for a square pyramid, it will be 40 in all four combinations. And similarly for top, it will be 20 for a square pyramid, it will be 20 for all four. So let's try to draw that. So let's try to use this visible line itself. So let's try to first create this cone base diameter 80. So 80 tab 30 enter 80 tab 150 enter 80 tab minus 150 enter 80 tab minus 30 enter. So let's try to move that. So let's try to move it and place it over here somewhere. So let's try to go to normal line. Okay, I mean don't make that normal. You can try, okay, you can just try to go to normal line. So let's try to draw from this corner to the midpoint of here, similarly from this corner to the midpoint of here, similarly from here to the midpoint of here, and similarly from here to the midpoint of here. So now let's try to select that. Go to arc by center point, visible line. Let's try to draw arc from all these 4 points. So let's try to draw an arc. So see that you're trying to zoom it and trying to draw it correctly. So similarly, let's try to draw it over here. So exactly here, similarly from here. So we have just finished drawing that. Now similarly, as we created this cone base diameter 80, we'll have to create a cone top diameter that is 60. So go to line again. So just click this, I mean now 60 tab 30 enter 60 tab 150 enter 60 tab minus 150 enter 60 tab minus 30 enter. So click move option and try to move that. So let's try to move that. So again, let's try to go to normal line. So let's try to zoom that. So let me try to zoom it and try to draw normal lines over here. So let me try to draw from this corner till here, and similarly from here till here. So now let's go to arc by center point, go to a visible line and Try to draw an arc. Similarly here, try to draw an arc here as well. Similarly here, try to draw an arc there, and similarly for keeping that as the midpoint, try to draw an arc over here. So now we have finished that as well. So try to draw a normal line for the midpoint. So because that could be very helpful in while we are drawing the center. So see that that's a straight line. So if it is not a straight line, delete that and draw it again. So similarly, even draw a straight line even here as well. So now they're telling the height is 20. So cone height is 20. So what you do, just select a normal line. So at the midpoint, so just give the height, draw a line and give it 20. So enter. So see that you're trying to select this and pick this, try to pick this. Means try to move that picking at the midpoint. So exactly at this midpoint and place it exactly over here. So, before even doing that, one thing we can do, that is you can try to delete these unnecessary lines, because if you try to place it, it becomes very difficult. So let's try to delete these unnecessary lines first, because for a cone, it may not be required. So let's try to keep only that center line and try to delete off all these unnecessary lines. And similarly, let's try to do the same thing even here also. Let's try to press that control key and do that. We can just try to retain this only this midpoint line, except that all other we can try to delete. So now using move option, let's try to pick from here and place it over here. So the next thing what you can do it is go to line on a visible line. Let's try to draw tangents. So you can try to zoom that as well and try to draw tangents. Similarly, a tangent that connects these two curves. So now let me try to trim it. So we will just try to trim off all these lines. So now I will just retain only this midpoint. So now that finishes the frustum of a cone. Now let's try to create this frustum of a square pyramid. So for that square pyramid, they're telling base side is 40. So that one would be very easier to do it. So just create 40 tab, 30 into 40 tab, 150 into 40 tab, minus 150 into 40 tab, minus 30 enter. So now let's try to select that. So move it. So let's try to move it somewhere over here. So that is the frustum of the base. So somewhere over here. So let's try to keep it. So now similarly, let's try to create another. That's a top. Dimensions are 20 tab, 30 enter, 20 tab, 150 enter, 20 tab minus 150 enter, 20 tab minus 30 enter. So let's try to even do that also. So before that, let's try to create a normal line as the midpoint. On its midpoint, let's try to create a normal line. So from its midpoint, let's try to draw a height. Let that height be 40. So now let's try to move this. Pick at its midpoint and place it exactly over here. So now let's try to zoom that particular area and let's try to draw using visible line. Let's try to join all these corners. So see that you're joining it correctly. So using visible line, join it using visible line from this corner to this corner, and from this corner to here, and from here to here. So now we can try to trim off the unnecessary lines. But that's okay, fine. Now what we can try to do it is we'll have to place this exactly over here. So you see you just know this is the midpoint over here. So you can try to select that completely first. See that you try to move it. I mean pick exactly at this midpoint and place it exactly over here. So now we have just done that. So now what you have to do it is I mean zoom this and delete off or trim off some unnecessary lines or something. So let's try to trim that. So let's trim this. Let's try to trim all these lines. You can try to zoom it even more better and try to trim off that. See that you try to delete off some unnecessary lines and all. So you can just try to see which one can be trimmed off. If you just observe it clearly, I think even I think that's all fine. See that here you try to trim off. So I think that's all fine, I guess. I really don't think there is anything else to be trimmed. So even this you can try to trim it off and trim off this as well. So I think that's fine. Else I think that you can possibly leave it. Okay, you can try to delete off this. So I think that must complete the problem, I guess. Else I think you can try to trim off this as well. That will be fine. Else you can just try to leave it off the same. That'll be okay. Because as this is the hidden one, you can just try to leave it off like that only. You can try to trim this. Let's try to trim this. So I think that will be okay. I think we have trimmed off all. Even we have tried. I mean now even we have trimmed it. We have just scaled it down to 0.816. So that will be fine. So I think that's it about the problem. Thank you.